Oh god. Hair's a mess. Hair is a mess. A big mess. It looks worse on camera than it does in thing. I should have fixed this before I went live. That's okay. Just give me a second for the people watching in the future. Because it currently says none, but who knows, there might be one person here. But I never prompt my lives, hardly ever. I've only prompted 2 lives in the past, but, yeah, so anyways. Hi, everybody. This is just kind of an impromptu live and saying hi to everybody and seeing what's up and, car chat. Usual stuff, you know. I do see one person here, which I don't know who that is, but there's one. Just gonna appreciate you coming out to my live stream here. And so tonight, I'll explain kind of. No, it's not even 11 o'clock yet. We're fine. It's 10:35, 36, somewhere in there. So not too worried about that at all. Only been back from the car meet for about an hour ish. Very good time, honestly. You know, not very many people showed up. There was about, I think, 9 of us total, but it's actually pretty good considering the weather tonight wasn't exactly amazing. But I am okay with it. Because it was honestly good. Kurt came out with his AMX, which I haven't seen him in a while. Oh, you haven't seen that yet? Hey, no worries. It's honestly it's just a quick little short that I put out. There's a couple of shorts actually on the paint that I did. There's 2 in fact. One was when I did the center section on both sides, which I needed to redo the one side for that, but then the other side was, then the second one was when I did the quarters and the front fenders as well regarding the blue paint. It looks fantastic, honestly. Although I do need to redo the passenger side, like I mentioned, because the prep wasn't that good, and it still has some of the backing on it from when the rubber molding was on the side. But yeah, there's a video on that too. There's a video on the entire conversion that we did, and that was only a few days ago. That was on Tuesday. But been having teething issues with it, which I'm probably gonna have to go back up to Edmonton so we can diagnose it fully and easier than me trying to do it here, because I think I have some stuff figured out, but not 100%. Something I did tonight, which made things a little better, because I've had a miss ever since that putting that in, like a bad miss. So I was trying to figure out, okay, what exactly is causing this? Like at first I thought it was plug wires, which it still might be, to be honest. But then something that I popped my hood at the car meet, and I mean, sometimes you don't really think of these things, is the starter solenoid. It's grounded, or at least partially grounded, on the body itself, like where it's bolted to, and doesn't have like sort of an external ground idea. Well, one of the bolts had actually come out, and so okay, I tried to put it back in, and unfortunately, luckily it was sitting right there, but I could not get it in. It was slightly stripped in there, so just like, okay, this is not gonna work out for me. So I ended up grabbing another bolt and putting it in there. It's not a good job of me doing it at all, but it's sitting flush with the body now, and that actually made a difference. It's still having a miss, but it's much better now, and it's running better too, a little bit. So that was part of my issue. I still think plug wires and plugs. The carburetor is going to have to be rejetted, I believe, because it fouled 3 plugs, and it's just one of those deals. So I did not want to deal with that. I'm going to have to probably rejet the carburetor, which I'm probably just going to go back up to Edmonton, like I mentioned, and do that. Oh, hey, old school, how's it going? It's pretty late for you. Um, definitely appreciate you coming on the live stream though, being this late. What's my next upgrade on the motor? I'm not sure if we're gonna go with a header or if I want to do a distributor. I think are my next two sort of upgrades. Maybe electric fan potentially. I'm not too sure yet. We'll figure that out when we get down that road. Um, but I need to get it fixed before I think too heavily on more mods for the car, right? Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. That you're having at least a little bit of a snack that way, just eating some toast. Because yeah, that's a while to go. Oh, he might be. I wonder if he's actually interested. Interesting. Are you starting CRX tomorrow? That's sad but understandable. Surprisingly, actually, we might have a few weeks still of being able to drive our toys with no snow on the ground. It's kind of nice, actually. Looking at the weather, like tonight, it rained a little bit, but other than that, it was fine. Um, and it got to 11 degrees today. Like, what's bad about that? Really, it's fantastic. So, you know, like next week we should still have the card meet going on. We're starting an hour earlier now though because of it getting dark. Okay, that's not my car. I was to say I thought I heard my car start. I'm like, what the? But no, that was not my car. We're all good. I think that was the neighbor's kid's car. To be honest, he's got a Malibu or Impala, front wheel drive Impala, more modern that has a glass pack on it, and when you're not really paying attention, like the resonant frequencies are very similar between mine and his car, so it was shaking my house a little bit. And it's like, yeah, we're very similar in volumes actually with our two cars. I think his is a little louder though, but our resonant frequency is about the same. And 66 Mustang, that's pretty sweet. Uh, Coupe, fastback, um, inline six, V8. What you got? And actually, I can do this. Do I know my Facebook information on here? Or do I have it in the system? Hopefully, I have it in the system. Oh. Oh, well, good luck. Okay, inline six, very cool. Now is that the 200 inline six or is that the 177? Because it wouldn't be the should be the 200, but I think they were still making 177s at that point too. Because yeah, I mean, I love my little inline. They're fantastic motors. It's just I'm having teething issues, like I mentioned, after the carburetor swap. But that won't be difficult to figure out in the end, because I'm pretty sure I have it figured out already. Because I think once we figure out they are when they're running right, they are fantastic. I want to be on my other profile. Original 200. Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah, and the Edmonton Oilers are now 5-0 on the season. They just beat the Golden Knights 5-3. So cool. You know, And Flames are now 1-1-1, which they play really early tomorrow. Like, holy crap. Oh, that's cool. I was gonna say, actually, if you don't know about, like, with mine was fully original too, my 81. Oh my god, that was loud. Um, yeah, like, mine was fully original down to date coded spark plugs, and it was pretty sweet to find it like that. But at the same time, it meant that it needed a lot of work. Which, see, and honestly, like, the Leafs, if you look at their roster and stuff like that, they should be a much better team. They're in kind of the same situation that the Flames are in that regard. On paper, they are such an amazing team right now. Both teams, for that matter. Goaltenders should be like lights out, amazing. You have some of the best players in the league, but for some reason, just things aren't connecting, and it's sad. And it's kind of funny. Because actually, I watch the Steve Dangle podcast. Because I watched the Steve Dangle podcast, and it's funny that what Steve Dangle mentioned, that because they follow the Leafs a lot. Steve Dangle's like a huge Leafs fan. Um, and uh, sorry, just lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, it was last season actually, because it's saying, hey, look, the Leafs are cursed. Because goals for, they were in sixth. Goals against, they were in seventh. 67. Right? I mean, that's fair. He's not for everybody. The thing is, his LFRs are not. I'm not exactly a fan of as much with the yelling as much, but I do like him on the podcast. To be honest, he's a lot better on that. What the hell? No, that was weird. But yeah, to get it running. I mean, that is quite a bit of work, but worth it. Really is worth it. When you have that inline six just singing, there's such a great motor, and you can make them sound so good too. Like what I did, with just thrush turbos and an H pipe off a 2014 Mustang. It has a fantastic noise. I haven't done anything else to it. There's no cam. Now the carburetor did make it sound a little different. It does sound better with the new carburetor. Oof. Some people do. I don't. Okay, no, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, maybe they want my phone number. So I'm trying to log into Facebook on my computer or on my laptop, and it's just not working. Okay, here we go. At least I got further on this one. Piece of crap. No. Whatever. I'll look at the comment later. Because the guy I've dealt with before, actually, he... no, I haven't. I've never done anything from CJ Pony Parts, to be honest. And I've only really ever dealt with. I've used a few different sources for parts. Like I've used Rock Auto. I've used my local Napa. I've used a few others. Bumper to Bumper I've used as well here in Canada. And, I just, depending on what I need, I'll probably go through LMR for my window seals, which I'm gonna need. I need the run channel seals, and then I need the channel to body seal at the bottom, right? So, the weather stripping and all that. Pretty simple, to be honest. Pain in the ass install, though. Because you need to, take the door apart to, you know. No, my laptop is just a pile of crap, to be honest. I haven't used it in years, and there's a reason for that. It's not a good laptop. And actually, I did not see his comment there, so I have to do this. It's at the shop right now. The problem is, it's still sitting outside the shop almost a week later, which is kind of peeing me off, to be honest. Because, and I saw the mechanic today. I was driving past him. He was walking to the bar, and it's just like, I might just end up finding a different shop for it because it's ridiculous. Because, I get it's a Friday afternoon, but then, even on a Wednesday, it's like, well, he's not working on the car because, oh, look, it shows on Facebook, because I'm friends with him on Facebook, that he's at a bar in Airdrie. And it's just like, really? Come on. He's drinking all the time now, and it's kind of sad because he's such a good mechanic. He really is a good mechanic, but he's drinking quite a bit now, and it's just like, the hell? I don't know what's going on with him or anything like that. I haven't tried to ask him, but he said, oh yeah, I know those Civics very well, and he used to be a Honda tech back in the day, and he worked on those Civics, and yeah, it's just he's worked at a bunch of different shops and owns his own now. So sure, you can ask an opinion. What are you asking an opinion on? I mean, likely. That is likely. It is sad, though. Well, okay. The thing is with that, okay, you're gonna have to, you can't just run air shocks without leaf springs on your 66. It's not gonna work. The leaf springs are what physically makes it so that the shock doesn't just bottom out all the time, right? Air shocks are cool though, because you can just lift up the back end and it's fantastic. You can get that old school rake if you want to. You also get you can essentially adjust your ride quality more or less with that, but you'd have to utilize both. You can't just utilize one, unless you meant coilover or air shock, which coilover is the way to go on that. But depending on what you want, you'll get better comfort out of a leaf spring though. Now I know you're just screwing with me there. Nobody likes that. Well, air shocks are the easiest way to get the rear higher. You could go with, because with leaf springs, you can get more height out of a leaf spring just by putting mounting blocks and stuff like that on it. It'll raise the rear end a little higher. Yeah, I mean, your original leaf springs probably have to either be replaced or re-arched. Because over time they do sag and stuff like that, and hell, you probably have broken leaves too, for that matter, because most leaf springs, after a long period of time, do break. Hey, no worries. Um, yeah, I would suggest getting new leaves and then seeing where your rear end sits, and then go from there. Because yeah, and then like I said, you can put mounting blocks and stuff like that on it to raise the rear end a little bit, like raise the body. Um, it's an old trick that guys would do with their trucks back in the day, to get a little more ride height, and people with leaf springs in their cars too. Depending. Like the thing is, the only like with a rake, what that did, because I don't know if it actually, I don't think it positively affected aerodynamics. The rake was more for because it was power transfer, and also to put taller tires on your vehicle too for when you're drag racing, right? And just for the look as well, because taller tires look so much better on a car. They just do. Um, you know, and so you had that rake, right? But then when you stomp on the gas, well, it just goes right. Well, it has to do with I mean, with race cars, they have sort of like that body style. I mean, I guess it like on funny cars, yeah, they do sit like that. That is true. Um, yeah, it's lifting the back end of the vehicle. Like I said, it's not a thing that's really done much anymore. It was very much a thing of the 70s and 80s. Um, and it kind of died off in the 90s type idea. People still do it, obviously. Like, I know that a friend of mine, Sherry, she has a 68 Roadrunner, badass car, and she put air shocks on the back, so it's got that rake now, which it just looks fantastic with it, to be honest. Well, I just know when that style was popular to do was in the 70s and 80s, so. And then when you said high school, it's like, okay, well, it's going to be 70s or 80s, right? But yeah, no, and like, I like, that sort of style a lot. Big fan of it myself. And oh, also, if something I'm wearing, because I don't know if you guys can see that, for Turlo's Garage, um, you know, he sent me this shirt, plus there was two stickers that he sent me. So I was just like, that was cool. I wasn't even expecting it at all. It just showed up. It's like, oh, cool. Um, we actually hadn't talked previous to that about that. So yeah, it was honestly, and the kind words that he put on there, because he said, you know, he he hoped that the shirt would fit because he didn't really have many more of them, and yeah, it fits just fine. Honestly, I've been wearing it all day. It's great. But he did mention a little note on the back, um, and said that, oh, this is a thank you for being an inspiration. Keep up the hard work with making your videos. And I'm like, oh, I just love to hear that sort of stuff, right? And no, this is not my first live stream at all. I've done quite a few of these live streams. Um, this is my on this channel. I don't know, 10th or 11th probably. I've done quite a few, so I have an entire playlist dedicated to live streams, and my longest live stream was over 5 hours long, 6 hours long, something like that. Really long live stream. I did not expect to be live for that long. That was a good night though. Very good night. Right? That'd be great. But sadly, I've got 1,236 or 37 subscribers now. And, I typically only get maybe 5 or 6 people in live streams, which I understand. Not everybody's here for these, and I totally get that, and it's fine. Live streams aren't for everybody. Why is what? With the subscribers and the live streams? Just because, I mean, not everybody wants to... Oh, the difference is they might be watching some of my videos, but to be honest, like, a lot of people that are subscribed to my channel, I've noticed that I get way more views from people who are unsubscribed than subscribed. You know, but it's fine. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay, hi Saber, give me a second. Here. There you go. And, you know, it is annoying, but it's fine. Sorry, I just had to give my cat some water here. Just out of my... To show him, hey look, you have water in there, you doofus. But, yeah, it's just one of those deals. You know, and like, and I get with the live streams, yeah, and you are a very rare breed when it comes to that. Because, I mean, there are channels I'm subscribed to, because I'm subscribed to quite a few. And I don't comment on every single one. In fact, I comment on very little. You know, I don't have very much interaction with the channels, but I just like watching their content type idea. And then there's people like, well, I mean, Team Mechanic here on YouTube, that, you know, I try and interact with the bulk of his videos because I want to try and help him out as best I can. And I have been. Like, you know, he's asked me for advice on stuff, and, you know, and I've given it, and, yeah. I mean, 26 miles to the gallon sounds about right. The 2-barrel, you will either see... It won't be very much of an increase in fuel economy, if any, but it will make a difference in power. Because the 2-barrel will give you about 10 to 15 horsepower difference in the car without doing anything else. That's just the carburetor. Which, when you do the carburetor, though, you do want to, like, if you do that conversion, which you have a small log head on that, so it's a little different. But, you might not gain quite as much power, but you'll still gain quite a bit of power. Because, yeah, you don't have as high of flowing of an intake as what I do, on mine, because I have the 81, which has the large log intake. Oh, hi, Saber. You're back! Hello, fat cat. Hi, buddy. Come here. I'll just put that down there. Well, this one's named Saber. And Rascal is elsewhere. Saber he's encroaching on 21 years old. Saber is not a girl. He's a boy. Very much a boy. I mean, most of he identifies as a girl, which I'm not going to judge him for that. But I wouldn't know. Hey, Saber. Saber. Hi, buddy. Wow, you even spelt it right, too. Holy crap, what a concept. Nobody spells that right. And also, like, he loves bottled water a lot. And I can play with him at any moment, too. Like, he's such a good cat. That way. A very tolerant cat, too. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I just, you know, I love my boy, and he's been with me for a very long time. He's been with me for about 19 years of my life, so I've had him since I was 6, and it is just incredible. Sometimes. With Saber, I let him out more than Rascal, because Rascal's a pain to let outside, because he'll just bolt on you, And the problem is, that'd be fine if we didn't live where we live. Because there's a main freaking road that leads off to the highway right there. Like literally just I could throw a rock and hit the road. Um, there are foxes in the area, there are cougars, there are bears, you know, and I'd hate for him to get hurt. So, and he's difficult to try and get into a harness too. With Saber, I don't have to worry about that. He's so slow, and he doesn't really bolt on you that he'll just enjoy eating the grass. That's cute. I mean, I'd love to let my cats out more, but it's just again, it's the dangers of the area, right? I let them out more when I lived in Lethbridge because there wasn't as many dangers that way. But you know, it's fine because the last thing I want to happen is one of these guys getting hurt. There's also deer too, which could be bad for the cats too. That way, because deer is kind of interesting. They can be skittish, but they can also be very vicious too. It just depends. So, because actually, the worst killer of hunters is actually deer. This weekend, not really. Maybe Sunday I might head back up to Edmonton again. To fix my car. Go visit Roy and figure out what the hell's going on with my car. Fix the miss and the redo the jets in the carb and stuff like that. And, next weekend though, I'm actually going to a Flames game. Should be exciting. They're playing the Philadelphia Flyers on Saturday, so that'll be exciting. My first hockey game in a long time. See, I would love to. It's just usually when I go up to Edmonton, I am so busy that I don't have much free time. That's a disappointing part. Because then as well, and I'd feel really bad if I just went up to Edmonton, visited Roy, just got my car fixed, and then left. Like that's a bit rude, to be honest. Um, and yes, and I could stay overnight. Like I could stay at Roy's. Actually, I just don't like staying at other people's houses. Like I'd have no issues. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't want to stay at somebody else's house that way. Unless if I had like a proper bed, which I don't have at Roy's, and it's not like I can afford a hotel room. Like yes, could I get a hotel room and put it on my credit card? Yeah, but it's not. That's not really the point. Although, I mean, I could do that review on the Supra potentially if I stayed overnight one time, but I don't even know. Like I'd have to talk to the guy again because it's been so long since we talked. Try and find a motel in Edmonton. They don't exist in Edmonton. See, when it comes to major sports, I've only ever seen hockey in person. Actually, sorry, no, I've seen a CFL game too, but I was so young that I don't remember it much. I mean, yes and no, Nat, because that'd be nice. But how do you keep yourself like that warm at night, though, when it gets really cold? Yeah, well, I mean, there might be motels, but still, even then, no. You gotta remember, honey, you're talking to somebody that is perpetually broke. Like it's not. I'm not in a good financial state. when I go up to Edmonton, and this next time is probably going to cost me at least another $200, which I don't really have, but I'm going to do it anyways because I kind of need my car fixed, and it's nice to see Roy again. I mean, outdoor sleeping bag could work in the box of a truck, I guess. I don't know. I've never slept in the box of a truck. I've slept on a trampoline outside. That's the bulk of my outsideness, and in a tent. Yeah, honey, I am over $200 in my overdraft right now. Which I only have a $300 overdraft, which takes me until November 1st is when I get paid. That's that's my situation right now. Um, I'm in a spot where I I don't really have a lot of money at the moment. Like I'm flat ass broke. When I say that, I'm not kidding. And I am $550 owing on my credit card. So yeah, 50 or $80 is actually a lot of money to me. And people don't realize that. They think, oh no, it's nothing. Well, to me, actually, that pays for meals for a few days for me. So yeah, that's kind of my issue. Trying to pay for anything is it's rough right now. And until I sell something or anything like that, it's rough. I mean, I've slept in my car. Don't get me wrong. Um, you can't really get as comfortable in my car though. You see, your Bronco will be so cool when it's done. And I can't wait to see when that Bronco is done. I can't wait to see when you know, when you fix up your Ranger too. Yeah, plus and Monday should be fun because for those of you that me and Nat just talked about this today actually. Um, that provided that it works out for time and everything like that, and it should, hopefully. Oh, an interview at 9. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. I should be free all day Monday, so yeah, it'd be fantastic. Because I know that there is. Yeah. Well, because Bucks in Calgary, when my buddy was down there a couple of weeks ago, the sale panels were still there, so I should be okay. Hopefully, fingers crossed. But yeah, I would absolutely love to do that, and like I can compensate you for a little bit of gas, and I'll buy you lunch that day too, because it's one of those things you're really helping me out, and I definitely do appreciate it. Because yeah, I it's kind of funny because I need that sail panel on. It's not a it's not kind of a want, it's a need because well, if that sail panel isn't on, water actually gets into the interior. Oh, okay, okay. Are you sure? Because I don't mind at all. Like I don't mind at all. Like I told you I'm broke, but I do like to be able to compensate people for helping me out. Hey, that works. Works for me. Chicken nuggets are always awesome. Oh, interesting breakdown. Um, wait. What? Okay, I just read that. He was. He wanted. I'm not even sure what you were trying to say there. So, were you wanting to do a motor swap on your Mustang and then taking the drivetrain out of a Bronco? Is that what I was hearing, or were you thinking that to put the Mustang on a Bronco chassis? I'm not sure what you were meaning there. Actually, I apologize. Because yeah, it's it's one of those things where people have been putting V8s in or in Mustangs for a long time, and you can put the Mustang on a Bronco drivetrain. So, like on a Bronco chassis, is that what you mean, or putting the engine and transmission from a Bronco into it? Because sorry, I'm still confused. That's why I'm asking. Because when you say put it on the drivetrain, like, okay, so put the 302 from the Bronco in there, or put the Mustang on the Bronco chassis. Sorry, I'm confused. Which, and the thing is, to put a V8 in a first gen Mustang actually takes a lot of work. Um, because like brakes are different, axles are different, K members different. Oh, I mean, it's not my thing, but teach their own, I guess, if you wanted to do that. And like you could actually make it work, but the problem is, uh, just because it's unibody doesn't really mean anything. Because people have been doing that to unibody vehicles for a long time. Um, yeah, and that's definitely true what Old School just said. Because even when they built the Boss 429 um, Mustangs, uh, the issue there was that they had to ship them out to Carcraft, actually, who did the conversions on it to fit the motor. And it is such a squeeze in there. There's so much different between a Boss 9 and, say, even just like a 390 Mustang. It's brutal. Like, that's the nice part about the Fox bodies is there's so much room under the hood, or even a Mustang 2. Again, there's much more room than a first gen. Oh, what's funny is that a Mustang 2 is actually smaller than a first gen, but like either keep, I would say keep it stock or do like sort of the upgrades that I'm doing type idea. Because it would be much better, I think, in the end. Because if you put it up on the Bronco chassis, 99% of the people that put a car on a SUV chassis or a truck chassis, it is so thrown together and so hokey, it's just terrible. And it gets, and sometimes it's just how you have to do it. Because there's not really a good way typically of putting a car on a 4x4 chassis, right? And it's just you lose all drivability of your car at that point, and for the most part, you're just going to lose what the car is about too, because that car is about being a fun little cruiser that looks really good and is sporty, right? You put it on a Bronco chassis and you lose all of that. Like, I can understand the whole all-wheel drive thing because I'm not gonna lie, on my Mustang, I've thought about doing like all-wheel drive, but not like jacking it up or anything like that. You could put like an S10 sort of front axle under the front of it, and make it work. But I've elected not to do that. I've even considered some other modern all-wheel drive systems as well, but again, I'm not gonna do it. It'd be really cool though, but no. If I ever do that, that'll be when I have a bunch more money and I just decide to, I have like swap the motor and stuff like that to, because the only motor swap that I want to do is a Australian Barra motor. Mud bogging a Mustang, I don't know what I'm missing. I'd much rather just get a truck. Like, it's already pre-built to do it, and again, most of those, like I said, are thrown together. It's just not good. Most of those lifted, like on a Bronco chassis or anything like that, or a car on an SUV chassis, like for example a Vega or a Corvette on those chassis, they're terrible. No, I don't care about those, to be honest. Like, don't get me wrong, it's kind of neat at times to see one, but they still are always bad. I've only ever seen like one or two that are actually like good, that are well done, and it's one of those deals. So trust me, I have no interest in mud bogging a Mustang ever. And if I was gonna, you know, do a Mustang like that, okay, I would do what my buddy Mills did. Uh, he didn't really lift his Mustang very much. He did clearance the fenders, but he put 31-inch tires on it, and it looks fantastic. And it's got studded winter tires, like something like that. And it's a '73 Mustang, fastback. Now, when he bought it, it was a complete pile of crap, and that's the reason why he did this to it. And I totally support it. Something like that, sure, but that's not altering the car chemistry. The floors on mine are original, like absolutely original. There's a couple of patches that need to be done, but it's original. Which even then, actually, I might be able to on my driver's side floor because I do need to get it around to that. I might do that tomorrow. Because I need to on the driver's side floor. There's an area that's about that big, by about so it's about like that big by about that ish piece that is rusty, and I think I can grind it and coat it and be okay because it's not that deep yet. And it does need to be done though. I need to do that before the winter hits. One new piece from which part are you talking about? You say one new piece, but I'm confused at what you mean by that. Like what, a fiberglass front end or something, or what? Oh, the floorboards. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, of course. The thing is, every old car that you deal with is gonna have floor issues. No, I've never driven a Hyundai Pony. The slowest car I've ever driven. Well, that's gonna be a toss up. Actually, it's gonna be between my Mustang, or the Chevy truck that I had. Um, well, okay. It's not super hard to do, but it is time consuming, and also there are techniques you got to learn. And to be honest, just go on YouTube when you have free time and look up how to weld a floor, because it does take a little more than just, hey, let's just cut and weld. There are quite a few techniques to do. Like, for example, so that you don't warp the metal too badly, you do a stitch weld. Like, basically, it's kind of like just a bunch of tack welds, right? So you do like a tack, and then 2 inches later, you do another tack, another tack, another tack, another tack, another tack, all the way around, and then you fill in the holes there. You see, a Mark One Rabbit diesel would be super slow. I wouldn't be shocked if it does like a 30-second quarter mile. And Fox Body have a cowl. Yeah, the front cowl. If you're asking about the cowl induction, no, but it does have a cowl, and I could effectively, if I wanted to, make a sort of induction system through the cowl, but I want to create actually in the future when I just have a little more money and stuff like that, because I want to cut a small hole in my hood, and I want to cut a hole in my hood scoop on the backside, but with one exception. To have it on an electric actuator so that, have like metal fins in it type idea that open up when I want to create some cold air. And it's just a cheap little mod that anybody can do to make your car a little better that way, right? That's pretty cool, honestly. Um, but and I have a bunch of other ideas too with the car. However, we shall see. We shall see what I get up to that way, because, like I said, there's a lot of plans. Whether they actually come to fruition, we'll see. But a lot of ideas. And like I said, I had to. One thing I don't like about my car. I mean, AC would be nice in my car, but it's not exactly like a dislike on my car. That's a tough one, to be honest. Um, Actually, I can say this. Of how, when it's windy outside and you're on the highway, how much it gets blown around like that. Like, you battle the wheel pretty hard. And it was worse. It was worse when I was on the before I mounted the spoiler on the car, because not only would the car be blown around without the spoiler, but then that the little, you've seen it, right? But it would also raise the front end too. Like the front end would start to lift at about 100 kilometers an hour, which is bad. My car doesn't have a V8 in it either. Like, no, my car. Have you watched my channel at all? Like, no V8s in my life. And also, that's definitely true. I'm figuring out what's gonna break next. I mean, I do worry about that on my car. Because there's so much stuff that could go. Like, and there's stuff that needs to be replaced, or that should be replaced that hasn't been yet. But, I just one of those deals. You were guessing what I might not like? What? I Okay, I'm confused by what you meant by that. Because you said not an original V8. I'm just like, yeah, my car didn't have a V8 from the factory, and it doesn't have a V8 now. So I'm not sure what you were referring to that on. Like, I love a V8. Don't get me wrong. V8s are fun. They're fantastic. I love the power. I love the sound. And it's great. But I like to be different too. Like my car with the inline six, it just hits that that sweet spot of where it has the sound. It sounds it really does sound amazing. And when I build it out, it's going to be more powerful than the stock V8, and it'll get better fuel economy. What's so bad about that, right? And hey, Jesse, how's it going? Definitely appreciate you coming out. And yeah, it is a late night live stream here. It is 11:30 here, so I love my 200. Absolutely. I mean, I just did a carburetor swap on the car to a 2 barrel. If I didn't want to keep that engine, I wouldn't have spent the money to do that. Oh, are we? Okay, cool. And inline sixes are fantastic. They're a great little engine, and my engine is cool. Like, also, my engine's in fantastic shape. I've done a compression test on it. It reads between 151 and 155 psi per cylinder. That's the deviation between them. The 2.3 debuted in 1974 in the Mustang. And they kept it until the SN95 came out in 94. Oh, cool. Very cool. 200s are pretty much bulletproof. Like, now, if you try and kill one, yes, you will kill it. But, the thing is, though, with the 296, the thing is, with those blocks, and especially mine, because it has a few different things in it, compared to, say, early inline sixes, um, no, you could run it with the same oil in it for a very long time and be okay, to be honest. It's not that. If you just decide to rev the absolute living hell out of it, you will blow up the motor pretty quick. They're cast iron blocks. They never made an aluminum block 200. In Australia, they did make aluminum heads, but not blocks. So yeah, in Aussie land, you could get an aluminum head on your on the 200s. So it's pretty cool. I'm gonna say I'd love to find one of those, but like those are, you do have to modify the block and modify the head to fit each other. And hey, and Jesse, that's pretty cool, honestly, with the compression. Like that'll be worth it, definitely, to get the compression that much better. Yes, cast iron and everything. Um, the 200 was put in a lot of stuff. You know, it wasn't just in passenger cars. They put it in farm equipment. They put it in you know, like airport tugs and stuff like that would have like 200s and 300s as well and stuff like that. And okay, so not pretty much like what old school just said, weight savings. And also depending as well performance differences too. Because okay, for example, cast iron is very heavy, right? And because of that, it's typically more durable. And you can typically boost it a lot better. So, like, you know, if you want to put a turbo or supercharger on it, you're more likely to actually not, you know, crack the block. If it is cast iron. If it's aluminum, they are much lighter. You know, the average, like if you take an LS for example, the most common Chevy engine on the planet, other than a small block like 350, um, is the LSs. If you take a cast iron LS and then take a aluminum LS, there's about a 90-pound difference between the two, which makes a big difference in performance, right? So that's why they do it. For example, all LSs in trucks are cast iron. All LSs in cars are aluminum. And that is true too. Um, that yeah, uh, when you have an aluminum head on a cast iron block, it can make it honestly. You can get when they heat up to running temperatures and stuff like that. You can have uneven wear on the surfaces, which can cause warpage and stuff like that. And like he mentioned, head gasket failure. So it is a thing you do have to watch out for when you do like a aluminum head on a cast iron block. But you know, just don't overheat your car. Oh hey Stacy, how's it going? Definitely appreciate you coming on the live stream. Yeah, definitely not. Um, like that's why, for example, like the Bara that I want, I think it's all cast iron. The entire thing is. Um, uh, I mean, I have seen first gen Mustangs with a trailer hitch on them, but I wouldn't necessarily say it was a rare option because it probably wouldn't have been from the factory. That probably would have been a dealer option. Which did they pay attention to how many they did? Probably not. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. And hey, wrenching on in the garage. That's always a fun night, right? Um, you know, I I was fiddling around with the car a little bit today. I figured out that the starter solenoid was not properly on there. Yeah, see, and I'm not a fan of the plastic stuff. Like it I don't understand. I don't understand how a plastic intake doesn't just warp itself the instant or that it melts the instant that the car is at running temperature. It makes zero sense to me how that actually doesn't happen. Um and yeah, and like the more modern cars get, the more plastic they put in them, and it drives me nuts. Like plastic has its places, but I mean I get high heat plastic, but still, you it's yeah, it's just ugh. I'm just not a fan of plastic. Just no, no more plastic. Give me metal, like I have on my car. I'm good. This is why I don't want a modern car that way. They all have this plastic and a bunch of this computerization, and it's just no, no. It's like carbon fiber would be cool. Like do a carbon fiber intake. That'd be interesting. That's true. No room in an engine bays on modern cars either. And they also make it so you can't really work on your car yourself unless you have special tooling. Oh, for sure. Like, my car has quite a bit of plastic, but it's 70s, 80s plastic, so it's not so bad, right? Like, my dash is entirely plastic. Um, dash around is plastic, and like gear indicator again, that's plastic. You know, that sort of thing, right? But there's still a lot of metal components throughout, and it makes it good. Like, I wish though that my dash wasn't plastic. Um, because the dash being plastic, I mean, it's cracked, and it might be able to be repaired because there's this thing called plastic welding, and I want to try it out. And, try my hand at it, see what can happen. The Civic, I think, is cast iron. Um, Actually, yeah, it is cast iron all the way through. I think it wasn't until the third gen Civic that they went to aluminum. I think. I could be wrong on that. But well, that's fair. I mean, and and like I need a new dash pad for my car to be honest. It's bad. And it has been bad since I bought it. But it hasn't been a high priority for me because, well, it's just cosmetic. It doesn't really do anything other than look good. So, because I am going to get a blue dash pad though. Because when I do the blue interior, it'll make it just pop with that gray as well, and it'll match the seats. So, yeah, see, and that's the interesting part because like up here, okay, we don't get near as much like. Although lately there's been a lot more sun and heat, which just bakes interiors. But then we also have the issue of rust here and that sort of thing. So it's a struggle. Oh, show. It's a fat cat. Hi, fat cat. But your eyes are like glowing because they're they are um reflecting off the light up there. There you go. Hi, buddy. He's purring. This is Saber. Thank you very much. I mean, my car isn't rust proofed, but it this is Saber. Rascal's the other one, which I don't know where he's at. He's somewhere down the hall. Like, and I do need to do some, like I mentioned, I need to do some work to the underside of Stitch, to make sure that she doesn't rust out during the wintertime. But then also, because if you saw which, um, no, I don't do that. Never have done that. Although my rear main seal is leaking, which has covered the underside of the car in oil, anyways. So there's that. Like that's the funny part. Because yeah, actually, when I got the car, it didn't have a rear main seal leak, but it does now. So, and it's interesting because I have to check my oil every once in a while to make sure. Hey, I'm not running low, am I? No, definitely not. But like, the thing is, if you do it properly, actually, because undercoating isn't the way to go. Bed liner is much better. Um, for rust proofing that way. But you have to prep the surface properly. You can't just spray bed liner and call it good. No, you have to get everything down to bare metal and then spray. It's similar to painting, to be honest. It like your paint will look better and last longer if you get it down to the bare metal. Yeah, if water gets underneath of it, yes, it is. It can be bad, absolutely. Because what causes rust in vehicles is not so much of them because like people will say that snow and salt causes rust. When it's technically not inaccurate, but what makes the difference with that is my brain's not functioning right now as I'm saying a sentence. Um, is because if you wash it off right away, for example, like with salt and snow, you're fine, right? Very fine. But if you let it sit or have standing water in it, that's how you get rust, right? Um, Regardless if it's painted or not, it'll eventually start to rust. So, yeah. Oh, hey, Wasted Talent Fabrications. How's it going? Haven't talked in a while. Yeah, it's a late night live stream, after my car meet. It was a good night. Yeah, it's fair. Um, I've been kind of all over as well. Oh, for sure. But like the thing is, if you take care of your vehicle, like you can make a paint job last forever. And especially the modern paints nowadays too. The water-based paints last longer than the lacquers do. Um, oh, you started working nights. Oh, okay. Cool. Very cool. Um, oh, okay, cool. Old school. Actually, the water-based, um, it's easier to lay, and also you have they last longer too. They just do. They're also more vibrant colors and stuff like that compared to lacquer based as well. I've painted with both, and lead based is better, yes, but you can't find lead based anymore. At least when it comes to automotive paints, you'd have to physically add the lead yourself. There used to be, when you go back far enough, you go back into the 40s and 50s, they did have some lead based paints, but that was again then. And then they went to lacquer in, I think it was the 60s or 70s, and they continued with lacquer right up until the um until the water based paints came out. See, for me, I always like to put a clear coat on anyways, just for that added protection. But yeah, because also like clear coats nowadays too, they don't have the issue that they had back in like the 80s and 90s where they just peeled all the time because it was such bad quality. Um, with the later lacquers from that period. Yeah, I would. Like if you wanted to preserve the way it looks now, clear coat is the way to do it. But before you clear coat though, you would make sure to get rid of any of the rust and stuff like that in it. But the overall look would stay the same. Yes, exactly. See, and that's the thing. Clear coat will peel off or can, yes. Um, but if you take care of the paint, it'll take care of you, right? And most people don't, right? Like my car, I mean, it did have a clear coat back in the day, but it's still on there. Yes, I have been. Um, there's been a lot of work done to the car in the past bit. It's been nice and still gonna keep on going. Been having some teething issues with the new carburetor, but other than that, some vehicles started to use galvanized metals. Actually, I wanted to see your full comment there. That's true too. Um, because yeah, and galvanized bodies have been a thing since the in mass-produced cars as options on trucks, for example, since the 70s, because the Dodge trucks were one of the first vehicles to have galvanized metal as an option. So my dad's 81 D150 had a galvanized body, so it had like no rust in it. It was fantastic. Had dents in every panel, but like it had like 400 dents in the thing, but it was pretty cool, honestly, for it to have like no rust. But other than that, yeah. Like right now, I'm having issues with the car running because it has some miss at the moment, and also the carburetor, I believe, needs to be rejetted because it's just how it's running with that new carburetor. It also did foul 3 plugs, so my guess is yeah, running rich and dumping too much fuel in. Because that's the only way how you really foul plugs is if there's too much fuel. Because like, and they were melting type of and I did do a short on that, but it didn't really show up on camera as much because when it did foul the plugs, they weren't fouled to the point of where they were unusable. You could still actually use those plugs, but it was just running like crap. And when I changed out the plugs, that it ran better. However, actually, Jesse, you'd be surprised. It's about the same. Because the thing is, when some mods like this actually do increase or can keep it the same, like it should actually increase a little bit of fuel economy, not a ton. Like I'm able to get 1 or 2 extra miles per gallon out of the deal, but right now it's not great. This last tank of gas was only 22 miles per gallon, which is freaking awful for that car. I was usually getting about 24, but then also was leaking gas again from that damn fuel pump, and I don't understand why, because I freaking replaced that gasket. So I'm gonna have to get another fuel pump gasket and go again. You know, prepping the surface again and all that jazz. It's irritating. So irritating. But also, I might just, while I'm up in Edmonton again, we might just fix that there too. Makes it easier when we're already doing some work under the hood, anyways. Just fix that quick little thing. It'll take 5 minutes. But yeah, and that should make my fuel economy a little better when it's not sliding down the side of the block. Well, your vehicles are a 200 inline six vehicle that weighs about 2,680 pounds. Welcome back. And I mean, it doesn't shock me that they're both that light. Actually, let's look. What is a Bronco 2 weigh? Because I got my laptop right in front of me. I like the new Bronco, not the Bronco Sport. I like the new Broncos though, and with the EcoBoost, I mean, I'm not opposed to it. I would be interested in driving one, seeing how they go down the road. I'm not saying I want one, but I think they're cool, and it harkens back to the original Bronco quite well. Scotty Kilmer hates everything that isn't, you know, like Scotty Kilmer hates just about everything. It seems like every modern car, he's just like this is horrible, and you know, and whatever else. That's what I've seen from him, anyways. Um, like he's bashing on modern Toyotas now too. Which, to be honest, I mean their reliability has gone a little down the toilet, but um, let's see, Bronco 2. Wait. There we go. Wait. Right there. Let's see. I mean, Jesse, I think that Scotty Kilmer can afford a lot of cars. He does have 4.6 million subscribers after all. There's that too. And like the thing is, no, I think the new Broncos are a great tribute to the original Bronco. Um, oh, there you go. So the Bronco 2 apparently was about 3,239 pounds approximately. Hmm. Like the thing is, the Bronco Sport. That's not a Bronco. Um, but the actual Bronco itself, and I don't care that they can be a 4 door. I like the 2 door the most, but 4 door's fine. The only thing that I don't like though is that in the more powerful engine, you could not get it in a manual, which is very upsetting actually, but that's okay. And hey, Nat, um, definitely appreciate you coming out. Good night, girl. See, I've heard that the new Broncos, like even the sports, are actually decent vehicles, but they're just not my thing. Hmm. Yeah, because I think isn't the new Bronco just a hatchback, right? Well, the thing is, they did want to. Oh, it's swing gate. Okay, you'll never down an auto car. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Oh, okay. It's just, sorry, my brain's not functioning tonight as well. An automatic car. I mean, I own an automatic car now, and I don't mind it. Although I'd much rather have a manual. Don't get me wrong. Manuals are just so much more fun. It's all good. Like yeah. Now, is it just health related that you can't drive a manual, Jesse, or does it happen to be that you just can't operate you just can't figure it out? Because either way, it's totally fine. I don't mind that at all. Ah, okay. No worries. That's perfectly understandable, right? And the thing is, for vehicles, like it I don't think that it matters if your vehicle is an automatic or a manual. Um, Old school, you say that, but the only vehicle that my dad has ever owned that was stolen was a stick. His '99 Ram got stolen, and like basically, no, old school. They punched a hole in the bodywork, broke into it, busted the column, and stole it. Trust me on that one. So yeah, you could do a hand clutch, or I mean, because I wonder, like, would you be able to do like a Honda Civic manual? Because they're very smooth and very light clutches. Because that might work out for you to see if you can do it or not. Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. We got it back and it wasn't written off, and you know, it got fixed up and drove it, and then ended up selling it in the future. It was a joyride, and then they ended up siphoning out the gas because it was about a full tank of gas in the freaking thing too, which was annoying because it was about 130 liters of gas. Like we had just filled it before parking at the mall there, and then it got stolen. And it's so sad. Like I kind of wish that we kept that truck, to be honest, because I could have used that truck more than once this year. But that's okay. Just like I kind of wish I kept my Chevy too, because I had that Chevy. It was a '94 Chevy OBS, 350 TBI. It was on propane though, and I ended up flipping it. I only owned it for like 2 weeks, but still, it was a good truck though. Like but I always wondered, like, well, what if I just put it back to gas? Because propane is ridiculous. Like, it was running like absolute ass on that propane system, which like propane tends to smooth things out, but when it's not maintained properly, which this one wasn't, it was not. Hmm. And uh propane fill stations, you can literally just go to any gas station that happens to have a propane fill. It doesn't have to be for vehicles, because technically the operators inside have to do it. Oh hey, Hamishes, how's it going? Definitely appreciate you coming out to the live stream. Um, see, and hmm, Waste of Talent. What's cool about when you mentioned Chair Slayer, I've actually met the guy, and he lived down the block from me, like on the same street as me, and he would do testing and tuning before he got really big. He had his little 240SX with the LS swap in it, and yeah, he would test and tune actually around the block. It was freaking awesome to watch that. He was a very cool guy too. Like And I just wish that, like, because he got big and then I think he moved out of the States now, but he did live in Lethbridge, Alberta for quite a while. And I remember he was having overheating issues with it for a while, but he's probably had those ironed out by now, I'm sure. That was years ago. And propane is much cheaper than gas. Much. Like, propane is, I think, 70 cents per liter, something like that, versus right now it's a buck 39, which is ridiculous. I haven't checked propane prices 100%, but the last time I checked, it was about 75 cents, something like that. And that was about 2 months ago. So, because that's when I refilled the propane here at the house for the barbecue. See, propane cars are, honestly, fuel efficiency can go down with a propane system, but the thing is, if you have the proper setup on it, it's fine because you will go forever. Like, that that Chevy that I had a 400 liter slip tank on it. It was great. That 400 liter slip tank would get you. Now it wasn't running quite right, that truck either, but it probably would have gotten somewhere around 600-700 ish kilometers on it. Possibly even more than that. Probably more than that, to be honest. But I never had it. I had it at a quarter full when I got it. So, and I drove it an hour. But and also, like, now, propane vehicles are more expensive to repair than they used to be. Um, because your CRX will be better than a propane vehicle by far. Like, there's no question. Propane, though, when utilized properly, can actually get really good economy. It's just everything has to be dialed in just perfect, though, for it. And a lot of propane vehicles aren't, and they run inefficient that way. But also remember, propane is much higher octane than gasoline, and also because it's a gaseous state and not a liquid, it actually is more efficient that way. Well, I mean, if propane is utilized properly, it won't really wear it out as bad as people think it does. Because, like, it's interesting. You look at a rotary engine, it's a very flawed design, but oddly enough, you put it on. Actually, no, that wasn't propane. That was hydrogen. Never mind. Disregard that. I was thinking hydrogen, not propane, on that one. But propane it's an old idea. It's been around for a long time, and it's just because the fuel is cheap, right? And yeah, if it's set up that way, it does. This one wasn't, though. Like, this truck, this was definitely some farmer that set this thing up. Because, like, here's the thing: all propane vehicles, because they never made propane vehicles from the factory, they were always converted after. Um, and the thing is, this one, it just had an indicator on the tank itself, and that was fine. For that little thing, because I mean, it got a lot. Because, like, the the gauge itself was not connected properly, which you can make them work, to be honest. Because you could probably end up running, if you put electricity to it, you could probably run a relay from the from that gauge to your thing. Oh yeah, propane is pretty much zero emission, or pretty close to zero emissions, actually. They're really not bad because what comes out when a propane vehicle is actually expelled, it's just methane. Which is not that bad at all. Like people talk about electric cars and being zero emissions when it was better. Oh yeah, a lot of industrial applications had propane, to be honest. Not from the factory though. It was always, like I said, done after. I don't think any manufacturer actually did propane from the factory, but why don't they make propane cars? It's because of the kind of issues that you can have with propane. Because for one, is it efficient? It's decently efficient. But it also knocks out everything else that's currently in the industry right now for that. And also the infrastructure, like, don't get me wrong, there's actually a good infrastructure for propane vehicles. But you don't have, like, at any service station though you go to. It is there's only one fill for your propane as well, right? So there's that, right? That's why they don't make them in mass numbers or anything like that. Because I think you could probably still get some propane vehicles out there. I mean, I could be wrong on that, but yeah, to be honest, now there is that, but propane vehicles do have to actually be, if they're on the road, they do have to be certified every, I think it's 5 or 10 years. And the thing is, most systems with propane are actually extremely safe. There's not too much worry of it exploding, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. Like there was a welding truck out in Coaldale, actually, where I used to live, that somebody was welding next to it, and sparks kept hitting the container, and the problem was it wasn't properly certified, and it went boom, right? See, now, and that's the nice part, because when they talk about alternative fuels nowadays, because the alternative vehicles and stuff like that are, they talk about electricity, like battery electric, and then one that people seem to sleep on a lot, and it's kind of sad, is hydrogen. And people will think really bad of hydrogen because, it's can be very explosive. When you're not, and you are gone. You can go fuck yourself. Yeah, took care of that in a hurry. Yeah, anyways. And like hydrogen that'll eventually, because people are going to realize that battery electric is terrible for the environment, and that because like the mining, for example, for the lithium, and then what we do with the old batteries that can't be recycled is just absolutely horrible. But yet hydrogen, the thing is with hydrogen, and people get scared because they think it's so volatile, but it's really not. When a hydrogen container gets punctured, it doesn't explode. All the hydrogen gets just gets let back out and into the atmosphere. it's really not a terrible thing. Um, because of that, right? Well, hey, I try not to swear, to be honest, on here, but I will do it every now and then when I see stuff like that. You make sexist freaking remarks like that, and I have zero tolerance for it. I don't care. I've been dealing with that my whole life, and people like that, they're not going to. I'm not going to let them do anything like that. Screw that. Um, but yeah, so like hydrogen though, it's a vastly renewable energy, and it's a proper zero emissions. Now, yes, you still have to use like oil based for making, for example, metals, like forging and whatever else too, and making engines and so oil and all that type of stuff, right? But if and hydrogen fills in about the same time as a gasoline vehicle, and just the problem is the infrastructure isn't there yet. And hydrogen cars typically are very expensive because of, again, infrastructure's not there, and not many people are delving into hydrogen as much as they should. But I really do like the idea of hydrogen-based vehicles, and they've been toying with this idea since the 80s, and probably even before that, to be honest. But that's when it became like widely commercialized a little more. But exactly, and oddly enough, it's funny that hydrogen is safer than gasoline. It is, but nobody wants to put the infrastructure into place. See, and I don't. I mean, hydrogen is starting to spread though. There are more and more filling stations popping up for hydrogen, and it is really cool. And I really can't wait because that is going to be the future. You know, exactly. It's much more compact. Like, of it's also easier to and safer to transport versus gasoline. And not only that, but it's also lighter too than gasoline. Which, when you create something that's lighter in your vehicle, well, you get better efficiency, right? Because it's lighter, and so it becomes faster, and it gets better economy, right? So it will get to that point where once all these like, because more and more countries are starting to ban the sales of ICE vehicles after certain dates like 2030, 2035, 2040, 2045, all that type of stuff, right? It's going to get to a point where they will ban the new sales of these vehicles, and I think just about around the world, excluding a few places, of course. But it'll be just about a universal thing at some point. See, now, the problem is with that, and people will think of the Hindenburg when it comes to hydrogen. That's their first thought. When it had nothing to do. Now, don't get me wrong, the hydrogen didn't help in that situation. But the hydrogen was not the issue in the blimp. The issue was the thermite, and thermite is extremely flammable. Like thermite, um, like 1 cubic meter of thermite will burn itself in about less than a minute, right? And it is just so sad. And it was such a tragedy. But the thing is, the thermite, when it caught on fire, mixed with the hydrogen, made things a lot worse. But yeah, and exactly, and that's what most idiots will think. And I wish they would just do their research and realize, yeah, hydrogen is fine. It has been there's a few hydrogen vehicles out there actually now too. And yeah, I would drive a hydrogen car, absolutely. It'd be freaking cool, I think, to drive a hydrogen vehicle. And there's only a few of them out on the market, but oh yeah, they definitely do. Like the Toyota Mirai, right? That is a hydrogen based vehicle. Um, and I think like Hyundai makes one, and there's a few others that do. Like, but it's just like, and I think there's independents too that make um hydrogen based vehicles as well. Like just independent companies that we don't hear about as much. And I'm sure like it's gonna get to the point. See, and I'd be curious about that too, because you know, could you get a hydrogen like could you make hydrogen work on an old engine like that? Which I mean, you can, because actually, come to think of it, yes, you can, because in the '80s they did it. It was what kind of thing was his name? Big actor, anyways, at the time. He was advocating for hydrogen vehicles, right? And he drove his hydrogen car all the time, and it got better economy than the gas vehicles, and it was a renewable energy source, because like hydrogen is infinitely renewable. So and there's many different ways to harness hydrogen too. So it's kind of cool that way, right? So yeah, no, I can't wait until it gets to that point of where we actually abandon battery electric and go to hydrogen, because that is the way to go. Now, what would be interesting is, and I don't know if it could work this way, is if you could get a hydrogen based electric vehicle. So have the hydrogen as kind of a fuel source that will make an electric motor go. And I don't know if that's physically possible, but if it is, that'd be really cool. Yeah, see, because like a hybrid that way, not have it battery electric, but have it, hydrogen electric would be really cool. And I mean, it might be possible, but I don't know, because I don't know 100% the science of hydrogen, and if you could make it work to create electricity in that regard to power a, because obviously yes, you can make electricity through any means. Oh yeah, for sure. You'll still need a battery of some description. That's yes, but not thousands of batteries, right? Just one, just like what our cars have, right? Yeah, probably makes sense. Actually, it's no different than old school, because actually locomotives do this, or at least some do. Not all locomotives, but some locomotives will do this, and it's a more modern idea where they will actually have a hybrid, but it's diesel instead of gasoline, right? Um, and so the diesel, it's essentially like a diesel generator that runs electric motors, and it's a great idea, and they've been using that forever in locomotives. That has been around since the late 1800s. Actually, it's like 1890s when they created that idea. Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm pretty sure they all do. Yeah, exactly. Um, and it's great. And I'd be curious that like yeah, if somebody can make the hydrogen work for that, then we have a renewable energy source that is zero emissions, and it would be great. but I don't know if hydrogen could be utilized in that regard. Um, and we have to see that for sure, because there need to be a lot more testing involved with that. Because I mean, yeah, like I said, it's been an idea and something that's been toyed around with for a long time, but and it's like electric cars, because yeah, like electric cars have been around for a very, very long time. A lot of people don't realize that. People will think, hey, electric cars are a new thing, and it's just like, no, they really aren't. Um, like the first electric car was like built in 1904 or something like that. But huh, okay. I mean, but yeah, I would like to see that stuff though, right? It's just it's kind of a passion of mine, honestly. Like for like renewable energy, I like the idea of that because there's gonna be a point where we start running out of stuff. You know, not in any of our lifetimes, obviously. There's gonna be gas until the day I die. I'm sure. There's gonna be coal and there's gonna be propane, right? Which that's what runs everything around here. Um, well, the thing is, they ditched electric cars. It's not necessarily it was ditched. It was just gasoline vehicles at the time were much more efficient. And not necessarily like in the ways of uh, you know, like efficiency with uh, like power or anything like that. But it came down to the electric cars at the time, they couldn't go very far. On their batteries, you were able to get like 10, 15 miles tops. While, for example, you took a Model T that could go about 40, 50 miles on his tank of gas, right? So it was a lot more efficient that way to do. And, to charge the batteries back up back then, it didn't take near as long as what it does today to plug it into a wall of like 20 hours, but it did take a good couple, 3, 4 hours, right? So it wasn't as efficient. And that's why the idea wasn't necessarily abandoned, but it just, wasn't as widespread. And then now the idea is coming back because we have better battery technology that, we can recharge batteries very quickly now. And they can go have a lot better range. But they're still not efficient, though. And that's the problem. Exactly. And you got to think practically when it comes to this stuff, too. Because, yeah, I think there actually has been an electric car made every year since 1904. But it's just in the way that they made them. Because there were so many that, small manufacturers have been playing with electric cars for a very, very long time. And it's cool. But yeah, I just don't like the battery electric. We need to get away from batteries when it comes to electric cars. But, you know, and one day somebody will do the proper research and governments will listen and we'll get away from battery electric. Just you watch. I, I don't know if it'll happen in my lifetime, but I hope it does. See, and the problem is, I don't think they could because, like, any. The problem is with batteries, you still need to mine whatever the fuel source is going to be for those batteries, right? And that's the problem. Just like with gasoline, technically, that's kind of the problem. Now, in oil is we have to drill to get it, so it's not a renewable source of energy, right? And that's my issue. Like, I love my gasoline, right, in vehicles, but I do understand that gasoline vehicles are not great for the environment. Exactly. Like, and a much lower impact, anyways, than electric cars are. Oh, for sure. Like, when it comes to making them, yes, it will definitely take, you know, a lot of oil based stuff to make hydrogen cars. Absolutely. I am not disputing that one bit. But it's better than battery electric, and in the end, when it's going down the road, it is better than gasoline. Solar, you could make work for that, actually. And they have done it. It's interesting, actually, because you could harvest hydrogen literally through just about any source. It's kind of cool. Because, yeah, you can make hydrogen through solar power, through wind power. You can also make it through, like, for example, when you see hydro dams and stuff like that that are making electricity, you can get hydrogen from those too. It is pretty neat, honestly. I am I'm a big fan of it, of hydrogen. I like it. And it would be kind of cool to actually experience a hydrogen vehicle. Oh, frick, I'm tired. Been a long day. Let's see, bro. Hey, buddy. I'm getting there. I'm definitely. I've been tired all night, so there is that. Hey, buddy. You're the last one talking. Because I think there's still one other person here for sure. Um, but I'll probably end up. So there you go. I figured he was still here too, because he would have said goodnight. Energizer or Duracell for batteries? I don't know. I like Energizer because of the bunny, but I don't know. Hi, fat cat. You're my little fat cat. Yes, you are. You're my little fat cat. I love you. Oh, you're so tired. Yeah, we'll see. And what I've noticed about the viewership of live videos, it lies to you all the time. Because I have watched, like I have done a live stream, and what was really funny is I I counted 6 different people had commented that they were watching all at the same time, pretty much. And YouTube was still saying there was 0 people watching. So, the funny thing about that, when you say nuclear powered cars, they did exist. They just were not produced for the public. Um, it was an idea in the 50s and 60s to make nuclear based vehicles. Um, the oh god, what was there was a Chrysler that was made that was nuclear powered. Oh wait, no, sorry, that was turbine powered. That Chrysler that I'm thinking of. But there were nuclear based vehicles actually. They toyed with the idea. Now it wasn't a good idea, but they toyed with the idea because, like, on paper, it sounds like a fantastic idea until there's issues with the system, and then that's when it becomes a bad idea, right? So yeah, and there's been quite a few actually turbine powered vehicles. Um, and actually, let's see, what was the Chrysler that I'm thinking of? It was just a prototype. Okay. Can I not type? Jesus. No, not turbine. Wow, I can't type. Turbine powered tractor trailers. Now that is an interesting thing. Yeah, I think all of the big three did experiment with it. There we go. The Chrysler. Here we go. I found the Chrysler. Did they just call it the Chrysler turbine car? I guess they did. But it was such a cool idea. That's cool. And hey, PA Scratcher Guy, I definitely appreciate you coming to the live stream. Now, what's interesting about the Chrysler, though, because they just called it the Chrysler turbine car, which they actually made 55 of them. And you could actually buy these, by the looks of it. I didn't think you could. But, you know, it's just, it is so neat when it comes to, you know, what people have decided to build for vehicles and stuff, right? And what, you know, what different ideas there's been. Hey, no worries, old school. Definitely appreciate you coming to the live stream. Good night. To be honest, I'll probably end up fairly soon here. Ending the live stream. I am getting tired. I mean, I'm getting tired. I've been tired all day. I just couldn't get a full night's sleep last night for some reason. I don't know why. And hey, no worries. Scratcher guy. Now, see, whenever I see your emblem there, PA Scratcher guy, I'm always reminded of a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey for some reason. Oh, see, that is sad. Because normally I can sleep throughout the night typically, but last night I just couldn't. I don't know why. I kept waking up, and it's like, what is waking me up? Oh, see me. Oh, it's a keystone. Okay, cool. I just like because all I see is just like, you know, it's about that big in the corner, and it's blue on white with lettering, and it kind of looks like a jersey from back here. That's all. That's mostly a bad habit. Well, that's fair. I mean, there was a while where I couldn't sleep. This was during junior high. Junior high and part of high school too, where there were days where I'd go with zero sleep and go to school. That was rough, honestly. And I don't understand why I couldn't sleep, but I couldn't. Once I got home, though, it just, you know, passed right out. It was great, but for that. But yeah, it's just, you know, and what I found, at least back then, because my body's totally different now, uh, I can't actually do what I used to do anymore. Which, that was a long time ago, so it's, you know, not surprising. I mean, yeah, I'm only 25 years old, but my body has changed so much within the past 6 years. Ah, that's fair. Hmm. But don't knock that off, cat. Frick. Hey, Rascal. Hi, buddy. Do you want to come up here? Hmm? Do you want to come up here? Big yawns for the kitten. Hmm? What if I want you? No, don't run away. Hi, kitten. Stay. Stay, kitten. Stay. There we go. Ha! I made him stay. Ha ha! I win. I got the kitten. Yes, I do. I got the kitten. I love him. Kind of. I mean, and it's cold outside right now. Like, but that's because it's middle of the night. But like during the day, it's really not that bad. You know, it was 11 degrees Celsius here today, which was fantastic, honestly. Like, and tomorrow, I mean, it's supposed to be raining for the next couple of days, but for like 80, damn. I'm not sure what 11 Celsius is in Fahrenheit, but a lot, a lot colder than 80 though. That I didn't know. Hi, kitten. There you go, 51.8. Which is pretty good for this time of year. Like, usually we have snow on the ground, and that's, like, staying around this time of year. So, it's kind of nice that we've had this nice weather. Ah, there we go. Just put my blanket on. Be nice and warm. With my Playboy blanket. Which, I don't even know where the hell I got that from. No. It's quite nice. For this time of year, this is very warm. Like, usually this time of year, we are, there's usually a bunch of snow on the ground. It's usually about -5, -10 in that range. So it is kind of nice, you know, to have this. And like, you know, Halloween's just around the corner, and I'm not in a spot where, hey, you know that it's looking like it might not even be a super cold Halloween, which is surprising. Okay, fair enough. Oh, well, it did say there was 3 people for a brief moment there. I don't know if that was actually accurate or not, but yeah, no, it's just one of those deals. Where usually there's snow on the ground at Halloween. There's been so many times where it's been god awful cold Halloween, and I'm trick or treating in like a snowsuit. It's terrible. It's terrible. There's been a couple of years where there hasn't been, but most years when I was trick or treating as a kid, yeah. So how it went. I haven't trick or treated in better part of a decade. So, and also actually for I don't even think I'll be here for Halloween. I think that's the is that the night of the hockey game actually that we're going to? I need to look. Yeah, I think the last time I trick or treated, I was 14. I think. Um. And Calgary Flames. Yeah, I mean 10, 11 years ago, somewhere in that range. That's not what I was trying to. Oh, there we go. No, 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 no. Go back. Go back. Go back now. There we go. Okay, so now I need to look at the calendar. Okay, I actually will be here for Halloween. Um, or probably here for Halloween. But because the hockey game that me and my dad are going to is on the Saturday, not the Sunday. So, yeah. No. To be honest, not here. It's kind of funny. The past two houses I've lived in, we don't get any trick or treaters whatsoever. The only time I've gotten trick or treaters here is when I've made posts on Facebook about it, and it's just the people who see the post that will send their kids here. And I'm just like, so I don't even bother anymore. There's no point. Well, the thing is, like, here in Sundre, obviously there are other kids that trick or treat, but in the problem is where they frequent because they don't come to the trailer park here. Because why would they? It's a trailer park, right? They're gonna go to, well, and I'd learned this as a kid. I remember that you go to the richer neighborhoods to get the best candy. Drove kids house to house for Thanksgiving. For Thanksgiving? Or did you mean for Halloween? Okay, you meant for Halloween. Okay. I was about to be like, who drives like that for Thanksgiving? A T-Rex and a hooker. See, now the big question though, was the T-Rex a hooker? Ooh, did you think about that one? I would love one of those inflatable T-Rex costumes though. I would so wear one of those. And I would do more than just like wear it. Like I would so like on YouTube, I would wear that, do a freaking YouTube video working on cars or something like that in a T-Rex costume. It'd be freaking awesome, man. I'm telling you. That's the life right there. Wearing T-Rex costumes while, doing car stuff. It'd be great. Like, and I wanted to, when I still had Lilo, um, I wanted me and my friend to be in Lilo, and we just sit in the back seat, in T-Rex costumes. Um, and with the top down, like driving down Deerfoot in Calgary with the T-Rex costumes on would be fantastic. With those big inflatable ones, right? And yeah, just be in the convertible going down one of the main freaking highways here in Alberta. Be fantastic. You know, it's interesting. I had a kitten briefly, and then now I have the fat cat again. Eh? Boop. Oh, and did I lose? Did I actually lose my viewers, or is YouTube trolling me to say I only have 0 viewers? I mean, well, there's 3 cats. Because there's Rascal, there's Saber, there's Cat. Yeah, but I don't actually need a 3rd cat in my house. Yeah, I don't need another one. I really don't. I have my 2 boys, and they are fantastic. And having more than 2, it's kind of hard, especially living here. Like, there's not any room for another cat. Because Saber already dislikes Rascal anyways, so there's that. Like, Saber tolerates Rascal. That's how that goes. Yeah, see, I couldn't do that. I can't have like a bunch of cats like that. There's just no way. Not. Oh, see, mechanic is here. I started over 2 hours ago. I'm at 2 hours and 17 minutes. So, yeah, yeah. So I've been here for quite a bit. I'm not gonna be here for too much longer though, but yeah, I'm doing it. You know, I started. Yeah, you did. But I don't ever prop my live, so there's that. I just go live on a whim because I can. I was bored. I was like, why not? You know, talk with random people on the internet. Well, hey. I mean, even if you were in bed, I wouldn't care. Like, you know, that you opened up YouTube and saw my stream and started watching it. I mean, that's nice. Yeah, it is. It definitely is. You know, it's encroaching 1 o'clock now, which is you know, give me time pretty soon for me to pack this up. But for now, I'm still here. Um, you know, and yeah, it's been fun. Definitely been fun. We've had some interesting topics. Had one. Yeah, it's fair. Yeah, that would blow for that, I'm sure. And well, what you've missed here is let's see, because it started out. I talked about the card meet tonight, which is pretty good. We had about 9 people show up, considering the weather. It's pretty good. Not that it was that bad or anything. It's just it was 11 degrees and very cloudy all day. It looked like it was gonna rain. So, um, then talking about my car and the teething issues I've had since having the new carburetor on it. And yeah, other than that, just been random topics, and we talked about like hydrogen-based fuel cell vehicles and whatever else. We spent actually quite a while on that topic. It was kind of cool chatting about that. I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks positively on hydrogen vehicles. Well, hey, I definitely appreciate it. Like, yeah, if you don't interact with a bunch of live streams and you're interacting with mine, because I'm nice. I love it. Thank you. Yeah, and a 24 barrel carburetor, that ain't gonna happen. I could be weird and put a 3 barrel carb on it though, because my cousin has a 3 barrel carburetor that he would just be willing to pretty much give to me. Which and if my Civic was a CVCC, it's technically a 3 barrel carburetor, which they're weird. 3 barrel carbs just blow my mind. It's similar to a 2 barrel, but instead of having um you know two smaller, like 2 and 2, you have two and then one giant one. Um, it's kind of like vacuum secondary type idea. Yeah, they're like a 3 1 barrel carbs. That'd be interesting, kind of fun. Um, and the 3 barrel carbs, yeah, they're not common by any stretch of the imagination. Um, but they are similar to, like I said, a 4 barrel in how they work. But they just have three. It's just like two small and then one giant one. It's very weird, but like I said, my cousin has a carb that I could get for basically nothing. Um, and like I said, CVCC Civics had 3 barrel carburetors technically as well. Edelbrock made a 3 barrel carburetor. It was like 670 CFM, but not sure who else did, to be honest. And like I said, I mean, and Honda, toyed around with the idea, but I don't think that was Honda's design of carburetor though. That was somebody else's. Because technically, you can still get 3 barrel carburetors if you look hard enough. You can find them out on the market, but not very often did they come up. Like, yeah, and are they worth it? Not really. You're better off with a 4 barrel. Because also, like, the intakes that you need for a 3 barrel is weird too. You can do adapters and stuff like that for a 4 barrel setup, but why? It's just other than to be weird. Like, there isn't any practical purpose to being weird at that point. It's just being weird. But I mean, our 3 barrel, like, I don't even know how well they work, to be honest, but see, again, I never understood 3-cylinder, or actually any odd number of cylinders is weird to me. I do like weird stuff, but 3 barrel carburetors is just kind of those, like, why though? Like, there's being weird or odd, and then there's that. It just doesn't make sense to me. Well, see, I don't understand an inline 5 as much. Like a 5-cylinder that way. I mean, I guess I can kind of get behind it, but I don't know. It's just weird. You know, having an even amount of cylinders just seems to make more sense to me. For, like, equalization of power and stuff. But don't get me wrong, I know Volvo did 5 cylinders. Chevrolet did a 5-cylinder as well. I believe Saab played around with 5 cylinders too. A V5. A V5. How the hell do you make a V5? That is weird. Why? That doesn't even make sense to do a V5. Like, what? Now I need to look that up. Okay. Laptop, open, please. Did I type that in wrong? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, let's try this again. Come on. I keep typing it in wrong. There we go. Finally on it. And a Volkswagen. Now, I need to look this up. VR5. Okay, that'll narrow it down for me. There you go. Let's look at the VR5. From 97 to 06, too. So it's actually a fairly recent motor, too. Weird. You'd almost like something like this being that, like, different would be an older thing, because they experimented more with stuff back in the day when it came to weird stuff like that. I would say it's much stranger than a W8, because at least a W8 has an amount of cylinders than a W. You know, it makes perfect sense. See, they made either 10-1 or 10.8-1 compression. They had cast aluminum head with a cast iron block. What kind of power did these things make? Oh, not a lot. See, I don't know the metric output for powers, though, converted to what I know. Because I don't know what a 150 to 170 PS means. And newton meters of torque. I don't know what that means. So weird. Yeah, see that I did know, but I'm yeah. It's just and now they're starting to use this more, the metric version of it. I'm going like, whatever happened to good old horsepower and torque that we've been using forever? And then we go to this. Oh, here we go. Okay, so 209 newton meters of torque is 154 foot pounds, and 220 is 162. And so I mean, they didn't make a lot of power, but yeah, it didn't have a predecessor nor a successor to this engine. That's weird. Well, I mean, could PS stand for pile of shit? Does PS stand for power system though? Actually, it might. I don't know. Well, there you go. It's PlayStation. Yay, PlayStation. Hey, fat cat. Ugh. But yeah, I think I'm gonna end the live stream here though. To be honest, I'm tired. I should go to bed. I have stuff I should probably do here soon. But I definitely appreciate everybody coming out at this late night. And yeah, I'll chat at you all later. And yeah, sorry. Um, yeah, hopefully next time you'll see this a little earlier. There, Yosef. Anyways, good night, everybody. And okay.